Hello and welcome back, CruiseHols, or hello if you're new to this channel, where in this video I review the independence of the seas. I was lucky enough to cruise on board her in October 2025, where I sailed from the port of Southampton to the port of Hamburg in Germany and then Rotterdam in the Netherlands, before heading straight back across the channel to Southampton. Although it was only a short cruise, I had plenty of time to get to know her. And without giving too much away for this review, I really enjoyed sailing on her. But as one of the older ships in the Royal Caribbean fleet, having been launched in 2007, I was a bit wary of what she had to offer when compared to bigger and more modern ships. If you are set to sail on her, or if you are looking and trying to decide whether to cruise on her or not, this is the review for you. In this video, I take a look at what I believe to be the most important aspects of a cruise ship, including the overall onboard experience, what's included on the cruise ship, the entertainment offered on board her, what the food and drink offering was like on Indy, what the accommodation that I had was like, and then an overall rating based on all that. If that sounds of interest to you, want to give us a like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and also let me know your thoughts on the independence of the seas in the comments below. My name is Darren, and this is my review of Royal Caribbean's Independence of the Seas. Royal Caribbean is a family-friendly cruise line. When I sailed on her, there were lots of kids and younger cruisers, so it certainly lived up to that billing. That may have altered the onboard experience for me, but I cannot see how it would change it too much if the ship was full of older cruisers and more couples rather than families. So the best way for me to describe life on board the ship is it's relaxed, as whilst there is lots of things to do such as West End shows and ice skating performances, you don't need to book in for them, and you can choose to dine when you want in the MDR. And for me, it's often those sort of things that make for a more restricted time at sea, as that has been a problem we have run into when cruising on some other ships, but there were no worries about that when on Indy. There is always something happening around the ship throughout the day and the night, so if you want to keep busy, you can do just that, but there are also plenty of spots to simply sit and relax, so if you don't feel like doing something, you can do nothing. So to be honest, the onboard experience is just how I like it. I can be as busy as I want, as relaxed as I want, and I can just go with the flow for what I feel like. So for the onboard experience, I give it a 9 out of 10. It can often be the case that Royal Caribbean and the ships such as the Independence of the Seas has a much larger price for your cruise for similar ships offering similar itineraries, but then you do also get plenty more included than you would on other ships. As you would expect, you get your meals in the main dining room and the buffet, called the Windjammer on the Independence of the Seas, but you also have free food and drinks in the Promenade Cafe and at the Sorrento's Pizza Parlour, which as you would expect mainly served pizza, but on the UK sailings there were some local favourites including meat pies. On deck 10 there's an included ice cream station and the fish and chips grab and go outlet. Away from food and drink, there is lots of entertainment included around the ship, such as shows and acts in the theatre, which was headlined for us by the Grease musical. Ice shows and the chance to skate for yourself are available in Studio B, and there are a couple of lounges that feature activities and performances throughout the day and night. The ship has an impressive activities programme, with something happening somewhere on the ship from the early morning to the early hours, and both kids and teens are well covered in their own area of the ship, with clubs for all ages. Some of the highlights of the facilities on board the ship include a climbing wall, a surf simulator, a sports court, a mini golf course, a kids splash zone, a large swimming pool area, an outdoor screen showing movies and sports events, and a sports bar with multiple large screens and pool tables. So again, you do have that higher upfront cost, but you do have lots included. And to be honest, just like we did, once you've paid your fare, you don't need to spend anything else once you get on board. So for the what's included category, I give it a 9.5 out of 10. There is lots on offer on board, and it really is one of those ships where there is something for everyone, including West End, or Broadway if you prefer shows, production dance and singing shows, guest performances, quizzes, ice shows, game shows, street parties, balloon drops, bands, singers, musicians, and just about any other form of entertainment you can think of, including a sports bar with live sports and a large screen outdoor cinema experience. I tried to take in as much of the entertainment as I could whilst on board the ship, and from everything I saw and experienced, it was all of a decent standard. And a special mention should be made to the fact that there was a live orchestra in the theatre, which always adds to the experience and quality of any performance in there. It was also great to experience things such as their street parties, which happen on the Royal Promenade, as I had heard so much about them before cruising with the line, and they lived up to the hype, with cruisers of all ages and nationalities coming together to just have fun, and that's what cruising's all about for me. So with absolutely no issues with the entertainment, and with some of the shows being amongst the best I've experienced at sea, especially the Grease musical, I give the entertainment on the Independence of the Seas a 9.5 out of 10. We ate at a few different spots around the ship, including the Windjammer Buffet, Sorrento's Pizza Shop, Fish and Chips, the cafe, and of course the ice cream machine on the pool deck. And no matter what we ate and where we ate, it was all of a good standard, and I enjoyed all of my meals on board. There's a decent selection of cuisines, lots of variety, and numerous venues to eat and drink all around the ship. Although I did feel that the buffet was a little bit on the small size for the ship. I cruised without a drinks package, and with this being a short cruise between getaways that I've had this year, I was trying to keep the cost down on this one, so I only stuck to 3 drinks, which are plentiful all around the ship. There was a good selection of fruit drinks which changed daily, water, tea, coffee and lemonade, which was available throughout the day and night, so me and my wife never went thirsty. For our first sailing with the line, it's hard to say if it's gotten better or worse recently, but what does give me an objective view of the quality is to say that it was much better than similar lines I have sailed on, such as what NCL offered us the last time we sailed with them. So whilst perhaps not quite living up to a more premium line such as Celebrity, it's still an excellent offering for the food and drink on board, and you will find plenty to enjoy throughout your sailing with the ship. So for the food and drink on offer, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I stayed in an inside cabin, room number 9403 to be precise, which is the usual type of room that I sail in. So as I haven't sailed with the line before, it is easy to compare it to other rooms I have had on board other cruise ships. And it's fair to say that this one stands up well compared to other cabins on other lines. It has a large comfy bed, a big screen TV, plenty of storage, a seating area, a decent sized bathroom with an all important glass door shower, and a decent sized wardrobe. That's pretty much everything you need from a cruise cabin, and whilst it is showing its age in some places, I have to say, I could have no complaints with the room that I stayed in. Well, aside from the lack of power sockets, with only 3 in total, and the complete lack of USB ports, which does make it a bit tricky for charging things. And that's such an easy fix, it would be a really big boost for most cruisers, so I hope it's something that they look at in the future. So with a good overall experience and just a couple of qualms, for the accommodation on board, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. If Royal Caribbean were trying to give a great first impression for me and my wife, they succeeded, and the Independence of the Seas quickly became one of my personal favourite cruise ships. A relaxed vibe complete with a family-friendly atmosphere, and lots to see, do and participate in is all you can ask for a cruise ship. But not only did they have lots to offer on board, but the ship does everything well. She is perhaps the perfect size for a line such as Royal Caribbean International, She is big enough to have the full RCI experience with its street parties, ice skating, royal promenade, climbing wall and surf simulator, but not so big that everything feels crowded and you need to plan and book every aspect of your cruise. If you have already decided you want to try the line and are wondering whether a cruise on one of their older ships is worth it, it certainly is on board the Independence of the Seas. So taking into account everything we've looked at, the overall rating for the Indy is a 9 out of 10, and it's a well deserved 9 out of 10. So all that remains to be said is thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my review of the Independence of the Seas, and see you next time.